All right, y'all, so we're in for a special conversation. Two giants in the culture who masterfully integrate faith and work. Two giants who profoundly are leaders in our culture who add value holistically, influence, and impact in so many ways how things move and how people move, trailblazers, trendsetters. And in my conversation with Mr. Carr, one of the things that he wanted us to talk about during this time is the foundation of it all. We see the work, we see the reach, we see the impact, we see the service, but at the foundation of all of that is sacrifice rooted in faith. And so I'm excited to talk to two of God's generals, I want to say, the legendary Mr. Kirk Franklin, the big brother, and the legendary Dr. Jamal Bryant. So I want to jump right in on this stage. It's a circle of celebration and friendship, and I've been privileged to know both of these leading leaders. I want to jump right in and ask, as we talk about faith as the foundation of everything that we do, talk about, number one, how you came to faith and why you came to faith. Kirk, let's start with you.
Well, first, I want to say how much I am grateful for the opportunity to be here with these great men. I want to especially really sincerely want to apologize to Mr. Carr for my lateness. I'm so grateful that he invited me to this incredible event. I want to apologize also to my brethren up here for my tardiness getting here, because I want to make sure that I respect their time and their legendary status as well. So I definitely want to do that just out of respect. I was adopted by a woman, and she was 64 years old, had a fourth grade education, and she was a church woman. She was raised in the church, and so she adopted me when I was about 4. And so she had no other children. She was a widow, and she legally adopted my name. I was born Kirk Mathis, and I'm glad that I was adopted, because I don't think Kirk Mathis in the family would have been. I don't think that would have had a ring to it, right? No. I don't think that would have done nothing, would it?
No, we needed you.
we needed Franklin, and so so we were in church every week. I mean, we were in church, but at the same time, she was a woman that interestingly she modeled this character of the heart of Jesus at the house. I mean, she would be in the house singing hymns and just the way she maneuvered like it was a very personal connection for her with her faith. And so, of course, I rebelled from that and got into trouble, very promiscuous, drinking, smoking, wild, and even on the church parking lot. I mean, we were doing the fool. I mean, some of you remember them church sleepovers. Them church sleepovers was a hot mess, Them church sleepovers was a major problem, for the kingdom, and so a friend of mine got killed when I was about 15, 16 years old, and he was the godly guy. He was the righteous guy, the guy that didn't smoke, the guy that didn't drink, the guy that didn't chase. And when he was killed, it was a major wake-up call for me, because I knew my life had a very duplicitous posture. And so because my life had a great form of duplicity, I knew that my life was not in line with what I was being taught, what I understood, and it had a major impact on my life. It was a major paradigmatic shift in who I saw myself to be as far as my relationship with a God that I wanted to know personally. And so from age 16, I really became very sincere, but still falling, still messing up, still having the issues of my own humanity as a young man. Never had a man, a role model, never had a father figure, never had any example of a man. I didn't have uncles, I didn't have cousins, I didn't have all of that. So I just had to kind of learn vicariously through whoever was in front of me, good, bad, or ugly. I had to learn that right there. And so, but there was something very sincere about that moment, that my faith really became an intricate part of my navigational system, to the point that even when I was not living in order, it was something very uncomfortable with the posture that I was in as a young man. And so that has been the DNA of who I've been ever since. It's the tug and pull of the flesh and spirit that I have found myself in the middle. And I honestly believe that, like, I'm not comfortable around any person that says that they love God that don't struggle. I'm comfortable around people that have that middle of the tension life experience, because I believe that that's where faith is really lived out. It's not lived in the happy Sunday clouds. It's not lived in the bottom of the gutter. It is right in the middle of the tension that we feel every day between our flesh and our spiritual man, that I believe that is the real posture of a pursuer of really trying to be about this life.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Dr. Bryant, how did you come to faith?
Yeah, I want to first thank Brother Carr for the opportunity. I'm honored to be with both of these gentlemen. I want to give some clarity, because a lot of people confuse going to church with having faith. And a lot of times faith is birthed out of crisis and not out of convenience. Real quick, Charles, I was in Africa. I used to travel with Pastor Benny Hinn for 4 years. And we were in Africa, and people who were deaf, their ears opened up and they could hear. People's left leg who was shorter than the right leg, the leg would grow back live in this service in the stadium. People who couldn't see got their sight recovered in these services. And I went to an African pastor and I said, why are all of these miracles happening in Africa and I don't see them in America? And Kirk, he said to me, because in America you got doctors. And because you have doctors, you all don't have to believe as hard. A lot of times you don't really have faith until you don't have. And so I grew up in church. I'm a third-generation preacher. My dad was a bishop. My grandfather was a bishop. My great-grandfather was a pastor. But I didn't have faith until I had crisis. And my crisis was trying to figure out what was I going to do, because I failed out of high school. I got kicked out and didn't know how I was going to put my life together. And so in faith, I trusted God for stuff I wasn't qualified for, that I shouldn't have access to, but I believe God for. And so it's a personal experience that is not transferable. You cannot have faith on your grandmother's faith. You got to have faith out of your own experience and out of your own crisis. And so mine really didn't hit me in a real intimate way until I was about 19 years old.
So, and we're almost out of time already.
Not possible.
Man. So both of you, if y'all can answer this question, what is faith by definition from your perspective, and what is its value to your life?
Yeah. It's every human being is really created with the seed to desire. That every human being never settles for all of the tangible things that they can possibly see. So that in itself shows me that there is a divine wiring in every human. Now, based in the regions, different parts of the world, you may define it and interpret it in a multiplicity of ways. But for the individuals that have a monotheistic ideal, it is in its simplest forms. It is the believing in the unseen and understanding the unknown in a way that you're always craving and desiring for more than the tangible. Wow. And so that's how I define faith, that you're never comfortable just with another car, another woman, another house, another pair of clothes, that there's always something inside of you that desires that there's a life and there's an existence far beyond the the natural and the material. And it's because we were divinely wired to continue to pursue something bigger than what we can physically and humanly see.
How has that influenced your work?
It is all I know. It is the ongoing testimony of that supernatural challenge. It is the ongoing narrative of the tension that I live in within my human existence and in my spiritual capacity. I'm never settled in my sin. I'm never satisfied with my struggle, because I understand that there's something about me that is naturally called to something bigger. Even if I never ever achieve that, I never settle with that. This is just it. There's something about being in the mud that makes that grass over there feel like that it's something better than the mud. And that's the faith. That's the faith that continues to pull me, and I continue to seek to pursue.
Amazing. Dr. Bryant, what is faith by definition from your perspective, and how has that influenced your work? We are here on Target fasts and Dollar General boycotts, and what is faith by definition? And I think this is important because we're all in different lanes and veins and different fields and doing different things and working on different things. We're all fighting for something, fighting to get through something, or fighting to get to something. Yeah. And so speak to what faith actually is and how that impacts or influences your work.
Humans are the only thing God created with imagination. It is only humans that dream of planting a business, building a house. Everything else in the animal kingdom is going through wired genetics or what they inherited. A bird wants to build a nest. A bear wants to go into a cave. A dog wants to run free. We dream beyond ourselves. Faith is believing in something I don't have precedent for. Dr. King put it this way: faith is taking the first step when you don't see the staircase. And so that is really the dreaming the impossible dream is where it is that I stand in my faith and in my calling. There's no way in the world that the gentleman who's sitting next to me would think that he would have the gospel as an influence more than a hip-hop artist. You have to have a dream that is beyond that. Even to have the faith in what he gave you, not knowing the ridicule that comes with it. So God told Noah to build the ark and then never tell him halfway through, you're doing good. This is great, keep it up. Can you all imagine, gentlemen, Noah doesn't know that the ark works until there's a flood. You don't even know what you're working on is a success until you got crisis. So 15 weeks ago when we started the boycott against Target, people were saying it's too big. There's no way you're going to have an impact. Why are you trying to do this? And I didn't have anything to compare it to because collectively black people hadn't had an organized boycott in 70 years since Montgomery bus boycott. And so for 15 weeks later, for me to come to black men to say that we dropped Target's valuation by $12 billion, to say that as black men, their stock when we started was $145 a share. As of yesterday, is $93 a share. For us to have the CEO of Target's salary cut by 42%. You got to do that with faith. Now the reason, let me underscore for you that you have to be able to operate in faith without words of affirmation. And the reason why I say it is we did this 15 weeks ago and no civil rights organization endorsed it. No black church denomination endorsed it. Wow. None of the Divine Nine endorsed it. But people on social media saw the vision of one pastor in Atlanta and said, let's rock with it. You got to be able to believe God. If you ain't got the financial support, you ain't got the social support, you got nobody pushing you, but you're believing that something is going to happen and only God can make it happen. I'll say in closing, Charles, it's not really faith unless you're believing God for something that if he doesn't get involved, it's going to fail. You got to believe at the point of saying that this will be an embarrassment to me if it doesn't come to pass, and that's where God can trust you when you're able to put your ego aside.
Faith is often synonymous with struggle. What role has faith played in your success?
And I'm glad that you asked that, is because I think that it is very also a look of being very manipulative, that when we always see faith, especially within our community, as the opportunity to try to win on the weaknesses of individuals. As I think that that level of hypocrisy and manipulation can be problematic in various degrees, historically, when it comes to the local community, church and black communities, and sometimes the nuanced areas that they have worked with each other, or sometimes even against each other. So I think that when you talk about levels of success, I think that for me, I can be very transparent. For me, not having a high school diploma, not having a GED, doing the type of music that I do. I can't sing. I run around on stage. I jump up and down, and I talk about Jesus. You know, all of those things can be very, very outliers in its posture. And I think that for me, the more I have seen God's kindness in my life, the more it makes me want Him more. That worldly success for me brings a higher level of need, humility, and hunger for Him, because first of all, I've seen how success has killed others. And I'm always wanting to study the blueprints of others that did not make it. And so for me, when I see God do kind things to me, it makes me want Him more. It does not make me want Him less. And so I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful that at 55, my hunger for Him is now more than it was when I started at 25. I had desire at 25, but at 55, I've got tools. And I thank God for the tools. I thank God for the mistakes, for the lessons, for the failures, because I've made so many mistakes in my life that I can now have the tools. I know what that feels like if I do that wrong. I know what that feels like. I know what that burn feels like. I know what that tax bill not paid, and that lien on a property, and the embarrassment of, okay, if you don't hurry and get some money, that's gonna come out, and it's like you walk around here with Prada shoes on, but my guy, you can't even pay your tax bills. You know, these things have taught me a level of humility, dependence, and gratitude, because I know where the holes are. And now that I know where the holes are, I know how to step.
Yeah. Awesome. I want to, Charles, give a caution that a lot of times we misunderstand that you really need, Kirk, you really need more faith in success than you do in failure. And one of the mistakes that we make is we reserve faith for those who are not doing well. And as a consequence, God really has to see whether He can trust you in success. So we poke our chest out, bringing in young men from the projects, from the hood, without fathers. But the young men who are more strung out on drugs are in the suburbs, who are more prone to suicide in gated communities. And so really trusting God is not just associated with poverty. There's a reason why there's more churches in the hood than there is in the suburbs, because we've reduced God to the struggle, that we don't know how to recognize Him in the success. My dad gave me a principle years ago that, gentlemen, I want to give to you. He says, money just makes you more of who you are broke. And so money just gives you access to be more of your weakness. And so you've got to figure out, how do I handle my weakness at this level before I'm promoted at the next level? Bishop Jakes told me years ago, is the difference between falling off the porch and falling off the roof. And so make sure while you're on the ground level that you can work all of that out so that you ain't got to work it out on TMZ.
You better preach on it.
Yeah. All right, there are two things I want to do before we leave, G. One is final words. What would y'all want to say on this subject matter to the brothers who are present today, and not just to the brothers that are present, but to the brothers who will see this?
I'll say, have the same kind of audacity of faith that MAGA Republicans have.
Say it again.
Have the same kind of faith that white supremacists have. Have the kind of faith that I stand on it and I don't care who disagrees with it. I stand on it and I'm not doing it for public opinion. A lot of us won't stand on faith because we're depending on likes and comments. You got to have enough faith to say it don't matter who else believes it, this is where it is that I stand, and this is what it is that I'm prepared to stand for.
Come on, Dr. Bryant. Come
Kirk.
on now.
I think that I would humbly try to challenge and encourage the incredible black men that I'm standing in front of right now, is if you can find a way in your heart and in your level of academia and scholarship to forgive the levels of ignorance and failures that have come from Western Christianity against you. Those things that have been to the demise of who we have been as black men, that have been weaponized against us and against our women and against our children, and the socioeconomic disparity that the black church has also contributed to. And I would lovingly encourage you to see that the teachings of Western Christianity and Jesus Christ are not synonymous. They are not the same. Europe did not influence Africa. Africa influenced Europe.
Amen.
We had him before they weaponized him. He was ours and he looked just like us. Give him another chance, and just because they're bad police, it does not mean that stopping at red lights won't save your life.
Come on now.
All right, guys.
Come on now.
So we gotta wrap. I want to do this in 30 seconds apiece. What you working on? What should we be looking for?
I'm working on me.
Okay, cool. Jay?
I'm working on buying Kirk's new project that's coming out next week. Please support my brother. It's going to change your life. On behalf of management and his label, please go see it. I'm also working on shutting down Target and Dollar General. Don't go nowhere near there. Thank you, gentlemen, for having us.